Hey everyone, in this video we are going to look at how to build a Google Chrome extension. It is very simple to create one and the only prerequisites are that you need to know basic HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So without any further ado, let's get started. First of all, I have created a new project folder by the name Social Profile Launcher. So the folder structure is as follows. We have an images folder that contains an image in its original size. In the project's root folder, we have the same images reduced to 128 by 128 pixels and 19 by 19 pixels. Next, we have manifest.json file. Every extension has this JSON formatted manifest file that provides important information about the extension. And finally, we have an HTML and JavaScript file. So before we start coding, let me give you an overview of why we need three similar images with different sizes. So while I'm explaining this, let me show you how the extension would look like once we complete building it. So as you can see here, we have the launcher here. So using the icons, we can visit the social profiles. So to the left of the title here, you could see an image, right? So this is the original image after applying some styles using CSS. And if you go to this Manage Extensions tab, you can see here the 128 by 128 pixels image. Then on the top right, which we used to open our launcher, so this is the 19 by 19 pixels image. So with that being said, let's start coding. So first of all, let's start with manifest.json file. So this is the JSON formatted file that's going to contain all the necessary information regarding the extension. So first of all, let's give the manifest version. So this information is available in the official documentation as well. Then let's give the application a name. So our extension is going to be called Social Profile Launcher. And then let's give a small description. And then let's give the version of our extension, which is going to be 1.0.0. And then let's specify the icons. So we have the 128 by 128 pixels icon, which is called icon underscore 128.png. And then we have action. So this action is an object which will contain two parameters, which is the default icon and the default pop-up. So the default icon that's going to be visible on the top right is the icon.png, which is the 19 by 19 pixels icon. And we have the default pop-up. So this is going to be the landing page, which is going to be visible when we click on that icon on the top right. So the default pop-up is going to be popup.html. And finally, we have the permissions. So permissions refers to the permissions that are required to run our extension. The first and the only one is active tab. So the active tab permission gives temporary access to the currently active tab when the user invokes the extension. So that is, the access to the tab lasts while the user is on that page and is revoked when the user navigates away or closes the tab. So now that we are done with the manifest.json file, let's move on to popup.html file, which is going to be the landing page when the user clicks on the launcher icon. So first of all, let's get a boilerplate code by using emmet. Now let us give a title to this, which is going to be social profile launcher. And also let me grab the links of the font and icons from here and paste it in the head section. So now let's head over to the body section and prepare the layout of our extension. So in the body section, let's define a div, the class as main header. So this is going to be the main header of our launcher's layout. So in this, we are going to have an h3 tag with the class as logo. And here we are going to have an image which is going to be the original image. So the original image is present inside the images folder. And then let's give a class to this image as well. Class is going to be logo icon. And then we have the title that is to be given, which is social profile launcher. And then we need to specify the version of our launcher, which is going to be 1.0.0. So now we are done with the main header. So let's move on to the main content. So in this, we are going to give a small description about our extension. So after giving a small description, let's move on to the last section, which is going to be the icons. So in the icon section, we are going to have a flex container. And inside this flex container, we are going to have different flex items. And each flex item is going to be containing an A tag with the links to each social profile. So first we are going to have the website. Let's define the target to be blank so that the link will be opened in a new tab. And now let's specify the icon. So we are going to be using the font awesome icon, the link of which I pasted in the head section here. So for the website, we are going to have the globe font awesome icon. So let me grab the link of my website from here and paste it there. So in a similar manner, I'm going to copy this flex and paste it 5 times to specify the links of all the social profiles. So let me do that quickly. So I have copied all the links from that file and pasted here. So we have 5 flexes inside this flex container. And we are done with the body section as well. So at the last of the body, let me give a script here, which is going to be popup.js. So we have the popup.js file here, but we won't be using it in our project. But if you were to add some functionality, you can very well do so. So now let's take a look at the launcher content. So in order to have a look at this HTML file, we are going to be using live server. So if you head over to this extensions tab in VS Code and type in live server in the search bar, you will have an extension by the name live server. So you can install this extension. So after you install that extension, you will have a go live button right here at the bottom of VS Code. So if you click on that, you can see that the application is now launched in a new tab, and the server's port number is 5500. So this live server is very useful for getting a look at your application quickly. So as you can see here, it doesn't look quite good. So let's add some CSS. So let me go ahead and put a style tag in the header section. So first of all, let me define some properties at the HTML body level. So the font family that we are going to use here is Open Sans. And then the font size is going to be 14 pixels. The minimum height is going to be 180 pixels. And then the width is going to be 400 pixels. And we have margin and padding which are going to be 0. So after this, let's define the properties of H3. So specifically for H3, we have the font family, which is going to be Menlo of monospace. And then we have the font size, which is going to be 16 pixels. And then the font weight is going to be 400. So this means that it's going to make the text much bolder. And then we have the margin as 0. And then the color is going to be 2F5876, which is this color. So after defining the properties of H3, let's move on to the A tag. The color of this is going to be black. Outline is going to be 0. And the text decoration is going to be none. So with this, let's move on to the image. So here we are having the image which is the original image. So let's reduce the size of it. So let me give the width as 30 pixels. Now let's define the properties of the main header. So we are going to align the items as per center, and then the border of the bottom is going to be 0.5 pixels solid, and then the color is going to be very light gray, which you can see here. So below the header we will have a border which is going to be having this width and then this very light gray color. So after this main header, let's move on to the main content. So here let's define the padding, which is going to be 0 and 22. So what this representation means that is we have the top and bottom which is going to be of 0 pixels, and then the left and right padding is going to be of 22 pixels. So with this, let's move on to the icons. So let's define the properties of the icons. So we are able to see that the icons are present inside the main div, which is main icons. So we are going to define the properties of this. So we are going to have a border top, which is going to have the same thing as we did for border bottom. So this is also going to have the same very light gray color. So after this, let me give the height, which is going to be 50 pixels, and then the width is going to be 100%. Now let me define the properties of logo. So here the padding is going to be 16 pixels, and then we have the logo icon. So here we are going to define a property called vertical align, which is text bottom. So this property is for making the logo on the left and the title on the right to be on the same line. And then we have the margin right, which is going to be 12 pixels. So after this we have our version. So the property of this is going to be, let's make the color as dark gray, which is this color, and the font size is going to be 14 pixels. Next, let's move on to flex container. So here obviously the display is going to be flex, and then the flex direction is going to be row. The justify content is space between. So this will make sure that all the icons are present in a horizontal manner with equal spaces between them. And the align items is going to be center again. And the padding of it is going to be 10 pixels, 22 pixels. So this again means that top and bottom padding is 10 pixel and left and right padding is 22 pixels. And then we have the width, which is going to be 100%. Next we have the flex. The opacity is going to be 1. And let's add some transition so that when we hover over that icon, we will get some transition effect and the color will be faded. So in order to do that, let me give the opacity 0.2s ease in out, and then the width is going to be 120 pixels. So actually when the hover happens, we are going to have the opacity as 0.4. So we will see a fading effect when we hover over that icon. So the final thing that we are going to define is of the font awesome icon. So here we are going to define the font size as 40 pixels. And then the color is going to be the same one. This is a kind of blue. So with this we have defined all the CSS properties for all the elements of our layout. So let me save this file. Now if you take a look at our layout now, you can see that we have a nice layout with the main icon on the left and then the title on the right with the version number, and then the small description of our extension, and then we have our icons here. So as you can see, we have a fade transition when we hover over that icon. So if we click on each of them, it will lead to the different links, as you can see. So now that we have completed the development, let's head over to the extensions tab. So make sure that you have the developer mode enabled here on the right. Then you click on load unpacked and head over to your project folder. So select your project root folder and click on select. So you can see that the extension is loaded in this extensions section. So now you can see that on the top right you have the extension section. So if you pin this extension, the icon will be visible here, which is going to be the 19 by 19 pixels one. So if you click on that, our launcher will be launched. So that's it. We have created the Chrome extension successfully. In order to publish it, you require to follow certain steps as mentioned in the documentation. I will leave the link to it in the description below. So that's it for this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and share this video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. With that being said, I will see you in the next one.